Welcome everybody to another episode of the PDS Live. And we have a friend here, as you can see. This is Mr. Billy Mays, down beneath us. How's it going, Toxic?
Billy.
So I thought of a good question maybe for the stream tonight. What is the thing you miss the most about being a kid?
Ooh.
This podcast definitely made me think about this a little bit, just because of like how he thinks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one for tonight. I think it's just the carefree, just that. I mean, it's hard to explain it, but you know what I'm talking about when you think back and you think about all the like stress that you have now as an adult and looking back and how you didn't have anything to worry about. It was just like, I don't know, the things that you thought were important.
Yeah.
That the fact that missing your favorite TV show at home might be the most important thing in your day. I miss that.
Yeah. That was definitely a thing for me I remember when I was in 5th grade, I would like run home from school so I could watch Pokemon because it came on right after school. So I'd like run home so that I could see it as soon as possible. I would say for me, it was probably like that Christmas morning feeling of you walk out and there's just an entire thing set up for you. And
it's like a special magic. Yeah.
And it's kind of gone. I mean, at least that part of it, because no one's buying me that many presents right now. So it's one of those it's one of those things. I think it just goes away naturally.
I think what Kirk said about it's like being able to see things or learn things for the first time. That's kind of what it made me think of, like before you really knew what things were to like discover them.
Yeah.
Would be like I'm watching my little daughter right now. She's 4 months old almost, and I constantly have to be like, she doesn't even know what a cell phone is, but she can look at it and she's like, what is that you're scrolling on, instead of paying attention to me sometimes.
Yeah, I could see that, because they are, you're right, that phase of them just exploring everything about the universe, which is crazy to even think about.
It is so funny, especially with your first kid, how like you're like calling everybody like, hey, they did this thing, they turned over,
Oh my god,
you're so excited about these little things. And it is funny, you have a second kid and you're like, oh sweet, he turned over. You don't call anybody, you don't tell anybody. It's just like it's everything is so exciting because they're doing it for the first time and this is your kid. It's awesome.
Everything's scary though, like is she a little hot too? Does she feel, like just different things like that? We're always just freaking out, and then she's just like laughing.
Kirk, you should do a little experiment here. Call your mom and tell her about something Mason did, like tomorrow. Like, Mason just did this. Are you amazed? She won't be, but you could try it. You could see how the response goes.
Yeah, it kind of went hand in hand, because it was my mom's first grandkid too, so she was always very excited when we would tell her. But
yeah,
it's funny. It's a magical time. But yeah, no, I miss that kind of stuff too. I think they kind of go hand in hand, is like the carefree nature as well as the wanderlust. Just everything's wonder. You're always excited and you've got this carefree, I guess. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, it's almost, but it's enthusiasm too. Just about life.
Everything's magical. You know what I mean? Like as a kid, like Christmas time, Christmas lights, everything's amazing. Now I see Christmas lights and I'm like, God, that guy spent so long on his roof and that looks like it was miserable.
Exactly.
It's a completely different.
You know how the sausage is made now.
Yep.
You're not as interested.
Yep.
By the way, Zach, I think Pokemon was on in the morning for me. I think I watched it before.
Maybe it was before school.
Yeah, I remember watching like that one get left out in the rain and crying before school.
Oh, maybe that was my problem.
Was it the Fire Eevee or something? Where, it stands out and waits for its owner, but the owner's dead or something like that. Not owner. Is that what it's called?
Flareon?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Could be that.
Its fire gets put out because it's so sad because it stays out in the rain.
It could have been that too. Maybe what it was, instead of rushing home from school, I was rushing to school because I wanted to finish Pokemon before I went. It could have been
yeah, mine was in the morning too, because I know
a flip situation.
And they had like 2 channels at the school, and I would always be there too early, and I would watch Pokemon and Ghostbusters, the cartoon.
Oh wow.
Oh okay. Classic.
I can recall after school watching Darkwing Duck.
Nice.
And maybe DuckTales as well. I don't know.
Gargoyles.
Yeah.
Gargoyles. Do you remember that weird show that was a cartoon about really ripped sharks?
Yes, Street Sharks.
Yeah,
Yep, Street Sharks. That was it.
Toys.
I had the toys. They were
Yeah.
awesome.
They were just bodybuilder sharks.
And obviously Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
That was like, I
Ninja
feel like
Turtles.
that was an answer to Ninja Turtles being a
Mm-hmm.
hit.
Yeah, I
Have,
think
have
it
you
was.
guys watched the toys that made us on Netflix about the Ninja
Yes.
Turtles?
Dude,
It's
I
great.
love that show in
Like
general.
how it was based on that like really badass comic book that was so serious, and then they just were like, let's turn it into a toy, so it can be a cartoon. Like it was all from the toy licensing. That was what it was for. Was that this guy just had a vision of like, we're gonna make this the next big toy, so let's make a show for it, merch and bed sheets.
It's crazy how much that plays into stuff. I've read so many like weird things about that. Like the only reason Mel Brooks could make Spaceballs was if he didn't put out toys. Because
Then it would compete with Star Wars.
yeah,
in
no,
some way?
that he literally that's what George Lucas said. It's like you can, it's fine, it's funny, but you cannot make toys.
Yeah, because George was all about the toys.
Yeah, he really understood how much money they could make off of that.
And they did.
And do currently
think-
right now.
They did an episode on that show as well.
Oh,
didn't
I
they?
haven't watched that one. I think I
Oh,
only
God.
watched the Ninja Turtles one
That one blew my mind about how much money.
because I haven't
they
even watched the
made and
wrestling
stuff.
figures one, and I love wrestling figures, but I didn't even watch that one. I
And
gotta
then
watch this.
The Barbie one was crazy too, because it's like, how much money that people have made off of that toy. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is wild. I guess I'm gonna hit record on this thing so I can adjust any of the video if it moves around. That's the one downside of how I do this, is sometimes it'll move around. We'll see what happens.
Wait, what's Spaceballs the Flamethrower? My cousin Nick is in the chat. And he said Spaceballs the Flamethrower was a bestseller, though.
I think they had a joke in Spaceballs about the
that's
toys.
true. I remember now, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think they that's just Mel Brooks being Mel Brooks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He had to at least reference that, hey, we're not gonna make toys, so we're gonna make a joke about it.
Yeah. The Schwartz.
There's so many of those movies that he made that you're just like, I don't know that he could make Blazing Saddles right now. Like if anybody tried to put out Blazing Saddles right now, I think
Nobody
everybody
should ever try to make
No.
Blazing Saddles.
there should not be a
in
remake
modern
of that
day.
movie. No.
Yeah.
But it's such a classic movie, but just insane that he ever was able to make that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because he always had this like irreverent like way of tackling things, like racism. That was him making fun of it because it's stupid. The same thing. I think he had an angle on that same movie about like the movie industry, and it was
Oh, the
you know, film
producers.
industry. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So he was an interesting guy.
Yeah. No. And then I mean, he had his take on Robin Hood. It had a Carrie Ellis in it and Dave Chappelle.
Mm-hmm.
That was not maybe my favorite Mel Brooks movie. It was pretty funny though.
Men in Tights.
God, that movie was so stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, all the
it's pretty-
movies are stupid. Don't get me wrong. Now, I did try to watch Spaceballs with someone that had never seen it before, not that long ago. It did not hold up.
Spaceballs didn't?
No, it
No?
wasn't even funny. It was.
No way.
Oh man,
I haven't tried to watch in a long time.
Yeah, no, I haven't tried, so I don't know. I haven't tried in a very long time.
I think I got 20 minutes in, and I'm like, I'm watching this with the guy that we work with, and he had never seen it. I'm telling him, oh, it's hilarious. We got
But
20
is it
minutes
someone who
in,
knows
neither of
Star
us-
Wars?
Yeah, he knows Star Wars all right, and like neither of us had laughed for the whole 20 minutes, and there was a lot of jokes. And I was like, this was so much funnier when I was in like high school and middle school. You know, like why is this not funny to me anymore? I don't know. It didn't hold up, at least to me.
Yeah, Toxic still likes it, but it is very specific. You know that by doing like a satire movie like that, it gets very specific.
Yeah. It's
But
like Young Frankenstein too.
Mhm.
Was Mel Brooks? Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like Young
I
Frankenstein a
just
lot.
like black and white movies, no matter what.
Same. But yeah, no, it's definitely good, but it's very specific.
John Candy.
I miss that guy, Uncle
John,
Buck.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I do feel like it's one of those things that it was so popular a while ago that like all the jokes got played out type thing. Because I wonder, you know, a movie that I wonder if it's gonna just fall apart on rewatch is like the Austin Powers trilogy. Because I remember how popular they were. I think I saw the first one fairly recently. There's still some pretty good like jokes. Some of their like physical comedy they do in there is pretty good, but it's
Dude,
kind
my
of
favorite
goofy.
one is when he's peeing when the statue stops
Yeah.
and he eats asparagus, and then it like blows his cover so he stops eating it because they smell his pee. Oh my god! I think Austin Powers probably out of most of the Mike Myers movies would stand up more.
Yeah.
Only because
And
there's so much very perfect innuendo. It's so good.
Yeah,
It's just
a lot of vagina.
Yeah. It's, like that. Some of the bits in there are really good.
Yeah,
That's the thing is I feel like that doesn't get old.
yeah. Well, I'm
stupid.
sure some of it aged badly, like a little bit problematic nowadays.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah,
some of it has,
probably.
but you
I've
can't
really-
get away from that.
No, I've figured that out really bad. Like you watch some of those like early 2000s comedies, there's a lot of it that's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, that feels
So
weird
much
now.
homophobia back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's pretty insane the amount of
Yeah.
homophobia that was in like every movie.
Yeah.
They somehow found a way to put it in every single movie. It's like just why? But yeah, it's definitely interesting watching those
My
classic
favorite
comedies.
bit was when he was behind the screen and Mini-Me was there.
Oh, yep, and
He
the
falls out,
apples. Yep.
He was like
Yeah.
handing him different fruits and stuff. It
Yeah.
just it was, and people were like, "What the heck?"
I think is Austin Powers coming back?
Is
they
he?
doing, like a
I-
reboot?
I
don't
I have a feeling that it's gonna, because they're bringing back. I heard there's a Wayne's World Super Bowl commercial.
That
gosh.
didn't
And
need to be brought
whatever,
back.
I'm just saying. I think that if there's one that Mike Myers is probably going to try to do before he dies, it would probably
Raven,
be
what's
Austin
up, brother?
Powers.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. I guess we're probably good. Okay, so I'll introduce our show. Then Zach, you introduce Billy, and then Billy, why don't you then jump into why you recommended the show, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Did you remember Ty's age? Was it 9?
Let me check. It's a good thing to check right now.
Because I looked it up, but in this article that I'm reading, it says he's 14 now. It doesn't
Yeah.
say what
Okay. Well, that
age
I
he
would say that he was.
then.
I think I'm. Yeah. I don't know. I think he was 9. I remember it being 9 in that first. That wouldn't make sense. I don't know.
Kirk's audio's low. Here, let me crank him up. We're not live, Braven. Thanks for the heads up.
Check. I thought it was.
It is- it is kinda low.
Hello. Check. I'm gonna look and see if it says it in here.
Mine's low.
I got you in the yellow. Let's see if
Hello.
I'm just gonna crank everybody up.
My friend Wavy is saying that everything has a delay. Is that normal for the Zencaster thing?
Yeah, it's usually not that bad. It's not as bad as Skype. Skype was real bad.
And I'm not seeing it, but
Zencaster's
yeah, it's.
usually a little bit better.
Give me
All right,
one
well,
second.
I'm just gonna stay close to the mic and hope that it's
Give me 1 second. I'll be
good.
right back.
all right.
Yeah, even on the Spotify, it says he's 14, but it's probably like an updated stinking thing. All right, let me see what year that episode came out in. Because if he's 14 in 2021, then he's.
What's up, Cam? Oh, he had it on 2 channels, so that was the delay, I think.
Ah.
It's okay. He said it sounds great. Yeah, I'm using this Audio Technica, which I've not used enough, but last night on my stream was the first time.
It sounds
Really busting it
crisp.
out. Cool.
Sounds good.
I need to get some foam like you guys have, I think, but I hate foam.
You do?
I just don't like the feeling of dry foam. It bugs me for
Why
some
do you like
reason.
get close enough to it that it like touches your face and you don't
I,
like
no,
that?
I just don't like it on my hands. Like if it, I don't
Oh.
know. It's just stop it. It's like a weird like disorder I have. I swear I don't like dry foam or dry sponges. It's weird. I'm not lying. I'm not joking. Like it's a real thing. Wait, hold on. Young Jamie's dog pissed on
I'm guessing me.
me at 2020. Wait, I don't understand this chat, but on his mic, he has Young Jamie's
Oh,
dog. That's my friend Cam, who is known Young Jamie for a very long time, who I've told you about.
hmm
Yeah.
That's funny. I guess it
That's
broke the
funny.
mic.
yeah. I'm trying to understand the logistic. Was the mic on the ground? I'm guessing
Maybe it was like projectile.
this dog
piss.
went really out of his way. He went really out of his way for
He
this.
was aiming for Cam's face,
No.
and it hit the mic on accident.
So I'm thinking he was 13 when this episode was recorded.
Oh, jeez. He sounds younger than 13.
He does sound, because a lot of these episodes are from 2020. For some reason I can't.
No,
find
I think
who we listened
I
to
think
now.
they re-uploaded it. I listened to this podcast
Oh.
the first time 2 years ago.
Oh, okay, that
It
would
was
make more
definitely
sense then.
it's definitely like 2019, possibly late 2018 when I listened to it.
Hmm.
So I think that I read. Oh, funny side note: if you look at the reviews on Apple Podcasts, it's really weird place because there's a bunch of 1-star reviews, and I think it's little kids
What?
because a lot of the reviews don't make any sense, or they're just like really grammatically bad, and they're like, "I'm just a dummy and I don't like Thai," and like just weird kid speak, and like some of them are just all emojis, like that don't make any sense.
So he's young enough that he has a bunch of kids on there. Like, I don't know
I
of a
think he
better
has
word
kid.
than
I think he has haters.
I don't know of
in
a better
Canada.
word than like shit posting on his reviews.
Yeah.
That is weird.
Yeah, I think he has haters.
That's seems extreme.
At that age, though, it's like bullies. It's
Yeah,
not-
it is. It is just bullies. It's online
Yeah.
bullies. All right. Well, we are recording whenever, so we can kick it off whenever you are ready, Kirk. Thanks for joining, everybody. Really appreciate it.
All right, let's kick it off. What?
Give me 1 second to put the
Yeah.
time on this.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Welcome to the Podcast Discovery Show, the podcast that's about other podcasts, where every single week we have a book club style discussion about a podcast that we recommended last week. And at the end of the episode, we're going to have a brand new recommendation. We're going to talk about that one next week. I'm Kirk.
I'm Zach, and this week we are joined once again by an incredible special guest host. And this week we're joined by Mr. Billy Mays III, who goes by Infinite Third when he performs. Thanks so much for joining us, man. We were really looking forward to this.
Thanks for having me, y'all.
So
Heck yes.
this week we're talking about a show that Billy recommended to us called Ty Asks Why. So where did you first hear about this show?
So I was on a drive with my partner to a wedding in the woods in like, I think it was late 2018, and we were just like asking people for podcast recommendations, and somehow this one came up, or maybe it was just like a random find on Google or something. I'm not even sure. And of course we were like, let's go straight to the death one. And this was actually the first one
Yes.
that we listened to.
Really?
And in my opinion, I've listened to the whole first and second season. I think this is the best episode, but it's probably just because of the subject matter. So I don't know if you guys want to talk about it, but the episode is called "What Happens When We Die." I think that's what he's asking in this episode.
Well, how would you describe the show, especially since you've listened to multiple episodes? So is this the same format, kind of like in
Yeah.
almost every episode?
Totally. So it's a kid named Ty, and we think he's maybe like 9 or 10 in the first season. But he produces his own podcast, and I think it's picked up by the Canadian broadcast
Mhm.
something, and
The CBC.
yeah, something like that. I think it is the CBC, yeah. So he does like a 20 to 30 minute episode where he explores topics, but he goes and does real interviews with people that he chooses that he thinks that would be good for this topic. So on the death one, he talks with a rabbi, a Buddhist monk, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe just
Yep.
a Buddhist.
Yeah,
and
just
then,
a Buddhist of some kind, I guess.
Yeah, and then he talks to his mom, and he talks to his little brother who's like 5 or something.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
talked to a Catholic priest as well.
Oh yeah, Catholic priest too.
Yep.
So that's what the episodes are like, are pretty much just edited together of like the best moments from each thing, and he kind of gives his own little insight. And it kind of, I didn't really hang out with that many kids at the time when I listened to it, so I was like, are kids smart? Like when I was
Yeah.
listening to it, I was like, this kid is like having really deep thoughts at 9.
Yeah, he's
And
very
he talks
thoughtful.
about being an atheist, but he's sticking to science this time around. Like in this lifetime, he's like, he doesn't like go against any religions, but he just wants to, like, see what's out there, see what's going on, see what's proven.
Yeah, I knew he was different when literally the ad read that he was doing at the beginning. I was like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
this kid's articulate. This kid knows how to talk. This kid, he's a smart kid.
Yeah.
And it just got, deeper from there because, the stuff that he was talking about and the way that he was analyzing stuff was, different level than I think I would have analyzed anything at that age.
Yeah.
Oh,
sure.
definitely
Oh,
for me. I feel like
yes.
I didn't really come online until I was like 19 or something.
Yeah,
I was
no.
like, I
When
was
we were
a
talking
mess
about it
until
before the
then.
stream, all we were doing is watching Pokemon and
Yeah.
Power
Yeah.
Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, this kid's up to real stuff. No, you can tell he's thoughtful immediately. He is
Yeah.
a really great presenter. He's got what, like, just based on what he's doing right now, he probably has a very promising career in some kind of broadcast, some kind of content creation, because he just is good at it at a very young age. And yeah, the question, what happens after you die? I mean, we Kirk and I at least grew up very religious. We grew up in Christianity, so a lot of these we had framings for this question growing up, but it was kind of just you regurgitate the thing. Him going at it from 3 like different religions, talking to his mom, talking to his even younger brother, who literally he just sounds like a like an adorable little baby on the podcast, is just such a wholesome, like, child thing to do. Even though he is like smart, the fact that he talked like the experts, but he wanted to hear his mom's thoughts, and so he really comes at it from a really cool way, and I really enjoyed this one.
It kind of made me I remember the first time I heard it, it almost made me like jealous that he's this kid that's having this like really good education, it seems like, and a mom that like wants to talk about this stuff with him. And whereas, I didn't have a bad upbringing, but like I don't feel like people were really philosophical with me when I was a little kid.
Yeah, definitely not to the level that they get into in this. So he kind of starts out by just reaching out to, okay, we know that death happens, and he kind of framed it around his grandfather was his first like loss, so he's like, and then he has this amazing detail in there about, like, he remembers he always wore this green sweater, and he remembers exactly what the sweater smelled like and like what it was like to be hugged while he was wearing that sweater. And that immediately brought me back to, like, did you guys have grandparents like that who had like a thing that you always remember? I had one of my great grandfathers. He was like a just really old school. He was born in 1911, and he always wore overalls. He was a mountain of a man. He was easily 6'5", and he always had a pocket watch in his like the pocket on the front of his overalls. And so he would pick me up, and like as a child, if he's 6'5", I was just dwarfed by him. So he's just like a huge man, and he would pick me up and he would like give me a hug, but then he would take out his pocket watch and he would always put it on my ear so I could hear the clock ticking on it. And that as soon as he talked about that, I like immediately was brought back to that, because it's so true. You remember these little details about time spent with, like, sometimes lost relatives, but sometimes they don't have to be lost. But you remember these little details that stick with you.
Yeah.
Wow. Now that we're talking about it, I have, mine's like not as cool at all. It's like I remember my grandfather like doing chewing tobacco and being like, what is that smell, and what is that brown liquid that you're like leaving around the house whenever I'm over there? And it's kind of like a bad memory.
No, but it's all just kind of like, but the thing is, you probably remember that smell.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so crazy how sometimes your memories are tied to very specific details.
A lot of it has to do with smell. There's something about smell that like connects memories. Because you know what mine is it's Dairy Queen, specifically like the one in town. Like Dairy Queen smells like Dairy Queen. Like it smells like
It does.
ice cream.
It has a Dairy Queen stank to it.
My granddad used to pick me up from school, and every single time he picked me up, he would take me to Dairy Queen, and it was great. So every time I go to Dairy Queen, I just think of my grandfather, because that's what I
Nice.
remember. But yeah, I knew this kid thought differently when, he was talking about, how many hugs were in that sweater, how
Hmm.
many hugs are still in that
Yeah.
sweater, and
Yeah.
the distinct smell and all that stuff. So I was like, man, this kid, he's a thoughtful kid.
Yeah. Um, and I think in that beginning part where they're talking about the grandfather, it's funny because the littler kid who's like 5 or maybe younger, I don't know, is basically assuring Ty that his consciousness is like still here.
Yeah.
And Ty's like, well, his ashes are right there, so he's clearly right there on the
Yeah.
table. And then the kid's like, I just believe that his consciousness is still with us in another form. And it's just like, wow, what is going on in this family?
No, and I mean it is really cool because you do get some of that, like, it brings you back to he's a kid.
Yeah.
It brings it back several times because yeah, he's very, very thoughtful, and like how he's thinking is way more advanced than how I was at least thinking as a kid. But then he has these things like, I like to think that he's just a star now. He
Oh,
has
yeah.
like these big dreams. But yeah, all of it kind of hinges around he lost his grandfather and then started asking these, I mean, literally the philosopher's question.
Hmm.
What happens after death? It's been tried to be answered by all of humanity for the entire existence of humanity. This question will always be there. And so how he approaches it was really cool because yeah, he starts talking to a Buddhist monk.
Because
And,
he was born,
he's
he says in his
Vietnamese.
bloodline he's a Buddhist.
Yeah.
And then but he's
born
like,
in
I
Vietnam.
find I'm an atheist in this life, but I was born into Buddhism.
He's like, yeah, he's like, who knows if I wasn't reincarnated, and this reincarnation, I'm an atheist who
Yeah,
thinks
he
about
and the
science.
Buddhist is like, yeah, maybe in your last life you weren't satisfied with the questions you were asking and you didn't get your answer, so you came back around in this life to ask more questions, which is kind of meta in itself that his
Yeah.
show's called Ty Ask Why.
Yeah. No, and I do really I appreciated kind of all the perspectives brought here because they all did it very sincerely, you know?
Mhm.
And so the Buddhists talking about, I always appreciated the kind of the cyclical nature of what they're talking about, where it kind of always is just churning, always all energy is just kind of cycling around and coming back around. And so he gets this whole breakdown from a Buddhist about kind of what's after death and things like that. And he like fully explores with that religion kind of in that framework how this could all be answered there.
Yeah. I actually heard this part differently this time because I'm currently reading a book that is called I think it's called Awakening from the Daydream, and it's about the Buddhist wheel of life, and it's a really badass like illustration on the front where they reimagined the Buddhist wheel of life with this guy's art, and then each chapter breaks down the different elements or the 6 different realms that are included in the Buddhist wheel of life. And he starts talking about that, the Buddhist, in this episode, because he kind of brushes over it, but he's like, well, hell is not a permanent state. If you have some karma to work off, you spend some time in hell while you deal with it, and then you become an animal, or and that's how he framed it. But in the book that I'm reading, they frame it as the different realms. We all go through them all the time. Like sometimes you're feeling like an animal and that you just numb your worries by eating food or doing like really base level bodily things. And sometimes you're in the human realm, which is ups and downs and like fears and hopes and all these things. Then there's like the god realm, which is just bliss and you don't have any worries in the world, but like all of them are very temporary. So I heard that and I was like, oh geez, I didn't even like that didn't register for me when the first time I heard it. But since I'm reading this book, it was like the perfect thing that I need to hear, that like, oh yeah, we're talking about death and life all the time, and that this is kind of explaining it.
Yeah,
in a way.
that's really interesting.
That's another discovery I can bring to the.
Yeah, no,
that book.
I do want to know more. Like that.
Yeah, we can talk
I
about that
don't know
later.
very much about Buddhism, to be honest. We learned a little bit about it in school, but very base level. I think I learned a little bit more just listening to Ty and the.
Mhm.
Oh really? Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Buddhism
I don't know
is
very
just
much about it.
is like a fun thing. Like there's not like radical Buddhists, I mean, I'm sure there are, but I think there was an Onion article that was like Buddhist terrorist like decides to go on TV and threaten like Nirvana for everyone or something like that. But yeah.
Yeah, but so yeah, they start out by talking to a Buddhist, which is once again close to his family. I don't know. I would love to know more about this show, like how it was created, and then how the production side is done. Because really, I love kind of the format of what they've done. You know, they start close to home, and then they kind of branch out from there. And
I
so,
mean, I've looked into it a little bit, and there's a production team, there's writers and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So it does make me think a little bit like, well, I wonder how much of this is, written. I mean, if there's a writer, it's a little
Well,
different than.
I think that happens in the post. A lot of that when you're a writer on a podcast like that,
mhm.
it's a lot of
Mhm.
research. Like you could be a journalist and you could get a writing credit on a show because you helped script the uh the way it moves.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
So
clearly there's a structure to this show, you know, and that
Yeah,
would be my
it's
guess is
it's a
like
very
how,
intentional structure
yeah, and so that's, I would
in a
say
good way.
less, I don't think the responses are written. I would say more that like
no.
how it's structured and how it flows as a story, you know,
Well, you
makes
have to
sense.
assume that definitely people are setting up these interviews for him that aren't his family.
Right.
And then I would think that maybe the home stuff might just be a tape recorder that he's holding.
Yeah.
And they taught him how to do that. And then I'm thinking these producers are coming away with like 5 hours of material for
Probably
this
true.
episode,
Probably.
and they just take the best parts and make a story out of it
Mm-hmm.
in 22 minutes. So I don't think
Mhm.
Ty's really like having a hand in that at his age, but maybe he gives it the okay.
And I
or-
mean, maybe what's happening is he's learning like the ropes because like
Yeah.
he is a great presenter. So from the Buddhist, they move to Catholicism, you know, and they
Mhm.
talk
Which
to
is I grew up Catholic.
oh, okay.
I
I
didn't know
went to a
that.
Catholic school. Yeah.
So yeah, they kind of get into the Christian perspective, which we all three, if you were also in Catholic school, Billy, we kind of all three grew up in that kind of framing, you know, and that understanding. And this is when I started seeing a theme between all three. And you know, there's so many disagreements between religions all the time, but
Mhm.
in the end, I feel like all three of the groups they talk to kind of accept that you do what you need to do to like begin grieving and stuff, but then really it's about taking care of and loving the people that are left behind. And it's kind of brought up by every single one of them here. So it really is one of those shows that it just keeps saying things so that your mind is running the whole time about
Mhm.
kind of these intense questions. I really did enjoy the whole thing.
And you got to think that that's like the producers really like pulling the most poignant moments from these interviews because they might have babbled on for an hour
Yeah.
and maybe some of Ty's questions weren't so good, but you just got to get them to say the right thing, and then they have some really like thoughtful things to think about.
And then when he interviewed the Jewish lady, that was very fascinating. I mean, she got emotional. 'Cause
She was
Mhm.
awesome. Yeah,
she
that was
had
great. A
just-
rabbi.
Yeah, she had just lost her husband. She said.
She said I've buried a lot of spouses, but never my own until now. And we're
Yeah.
like, oh
Yep.
shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it got real.
Yeah.
And no, but I thought that was very fascinating. She specifically talked about like what Zach was just mentioning.
Mhm.
We in the Jewish tradition, we, you know, reverently lay the person to rest, but then it's more about consoling the family and getting them through this difficult time more than anything else.
Yeah, not thinking
Because-
about what happens after death because there's work to do here.
Yeah, and I hadn't
and
even
people to
really
focus on here.
considered that. You know, I hadn't thought about like there was a. I just didn't know that they didn't really concern themselves too much with post death. It's
Mhm.
about kind of the time you're spending on Earth. You know, is
Yeah.
more where their focus is. So that was it was another interesting thing. And she also said, I think she had a line something like, "I carry my husband on the back of everything I do."
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so yeah, this has gotten very real, and it's just really good. It's really good the whole time, and then you kind of remember that there is a 10-year-old as the lead of this thing. Like you
Yeah.
forget sometimes because it's a heavy subject done very very well. But and then he starts talking again, and you're like, oh man. So then after he talks to all these religious leaders, he has to go to the source. He goes to his mother, who his grandfather he lost was it was his or her father. So he kind of gets that really personal thing. So it brings it right back around to the family like unit, you know, that kind of that core. if you're a 10-year-old, who are the people you're talking to? You're talking to your siblings and you're talking to your parents. And so it
Yeah.
kind of wraps it back up into that. And so it really is a very well designed
It
thing.
was cool because I felt like by the time it got to his mom, she almost she gave like the really human response where she wasn't too hopeful or wishy-washy about it, like, or she just seemed like affected by it, and she said, well, I'd like to think that when we go and sprinkle his ashes finally, that he'll be with the earth, or she said something like that.
Yeah.
But it kind of sounded like she was a little bit more jaded than the kids were, even, because it was just like really hurt for her, and she's dealing with life, in a way that a kid doesn't yet. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting look at the innocence, kind of the other side
Mhm.
of that. Yeah.
And then they close, and so you're saying that he does this with every episode where he closes with a song that he writes about the subject.
So yeah, the I guess there's a composer that does the music, but then for each episode, he like works with Ty to make a song. And from the ones I've heard, this is also the best song.
Really?
Like I the other songs are fun and they're more like goofy,
Mm.
but this one was
Mm.
like I as soon as I heard this the first time, my world stopped, and I was
I wrote
like,
down some of the lyrics because we had. Well,
Dude, so-
before we
well,
get to this, I want to
okay.
talk about.
Okay.
I want to ask you guys, when was the first time that you guys experienced death as a kid? Like, what that you remember, or that where you kind of realized, oh, everybody dies. Like, I remember exactly when it happened for me. Like, I used to think that. I guess I thought everyone lived forever unless it was like an accident. It was like it was almost like we were elves, you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
live for these long periods of time, like you die in war or something.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't
Yeah.
hit me until much later, or well, not later, but didn't hit me till this time that everybody dies. And it was at private school, and I don't know why they did it, but they had this giant picture, and it was a very graphic picture of the crucifixion, and we were like in kindergarten. And they
Dude.
like brought us all in there and showed it to us, and I'm like traumatized by this thing. And I remember them explaining to us, like, well, everybody has to die, and I'm like, wait, what? Everybody dies?
You gonna just say that?
So I was like freaked out, and I remember I had like this whole existential crisis at the age of like 6, of like thinking, oh my god, I'm gonna die any day now.
Any day.
I remember
need to
being
live my life.
so removed from that growing up in the church. Like they have the giant sculpture of Jesus nailed into a cross.
Mhm.
It's the most graphic shit ever. And then in my school, every year they would like reenact it in front
Yeah.
of you, like the Stations of the Cross. And I just remember not even thinking about, like, it almost seemed like a movie or something. Like, it didn't teach me anything. It just taught me like, oh, that's goofy that they act this shit out every year. Like, I don't think until later did I really think about it, that like, oh, a guy died and they beat him. Like,
Yeah,
so I
no, it
don't know.
was the whole story's
That
brutal.
stuff never really registered as death for me, or like I don't even think I really thought about it till my grandma died when I was in like 9th or 10th grade. And I do remember feeling pretty lost about that, but I don't know. It's like when I was a kid, I almost didn't have any reference. Maybe
Mhm.
okay, maybe All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Oh,
You remember
okay.
that movie? I
Hmm.
think that, or maybe even before that, Land Before Time.
Oh, okay.
When the mom dies,
Mm-hmm.
my mom like made it a point, because I was raised by a single mom. It was just me and her. I remember she'd like make it a point to be like, "This is what would happen if I died," and she'd like make a big deal out of it.
Oh, gosh.
Like, it made her sad, so I was like, "Oh, this is supposed to be really sad."
No, I mean Mufasa clearly scarred
Oh,
me,
yeah.
as with most other children.
He
My
scarred
first,
you. I get it.
yep. But I would say the first one, like personally, I lost my grandmother when I was young, and that was the first time where I realized that like people close to you can die. And obviously there's been ones as an adult that hits you differently, obviously, but that was the first time where I kind of like had to deal with that. And it does stick with you, so it totally makes sense that him losing a grandparent like that
Yeah.
would do that. So yeah, it's definitely crazy.
Okay, so
Um,
now let's get back to the song.
Well, hold
It's-
on.
Yeah, go
This
ahead.
reminded me of the last part of the podcast before the song. I actually just went up. Since I had just listened to it before we started recording, I went up and in upstairs in my house right now is my partner and
Mm-hmm.
our daughter, our 4-month-old daughter. And we've had a heavy time since the baby was born. There's a lot of hard things that come with it, but on top of that, just dealing with some grief about some things that I won't go into. But it's been a particularly rough week because of a date uh, that just passed, an anniversary date for her, and so she's just been really like, just getting to the basics of death of like, man, like it's just like, man, we're gonna die, or like we don't know if
Mm.
we're gonna get to spend this much time with our daughter and stuff, and like it's heavy. So I actually, before we started recording, I ran upstairs and I had to share with her because I knew she would remember the very last thing that happens in the podcast is when he's talking to the little brother again, and he goes, I think his name's Kian, and he says like, Kian, do you wanna stop talking about death now? And he's like, yeah. He's like, let's just stop talking about it and enjoy what we have here now. And he's like, okay. And I was just like, I started tearing up, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta go remind Katie about that because it's like
I
you're
do.
asking
Yeah.
these questions, and you're like, what? How do we deal with this? And like a kid can come up with this simple answer. It's like
Yeah.
you've been dealing with it for your whole life, so just enjoy what you have. you know.
Yeah, it is crazy that it's something that literally everyone who has ever been on this planet or ever will be has to experience it, and it still holds this kind of mysticism. This
Yeah.
this question that is literally an inevitability for everybody who's ever been here or ever will be. It's still got this level of impact.
There was a quote in that Buddhist book that I'm reading that really spoke to me that said, because they basically say that like in Buddhism the deity, which there isn't one, or the god, is basically impermanence. So
Hmm.
there's a line that was just like, the only thing that ever truly governs us is impermanence. Like
Mm.
government doesn't really last, nothing ever means that much, but impermanence is something that governs everything and everyone, like inescapably. And that's
Hmm.
that really resonates with me. So that brings us to the song, which I'm so excited
It's
because
a good one.
this is
It was good.
I have
I
a
mean, it was
personal
good.
thing going on with this song. So the song itself is like kind of atmospheric,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of just goes for it. He sings with his little high voice, and he says like, I'm not afraid of death, just afraid of leaving. Dying is easy enough, but the let go is hard. And it's like and there's a couple verses and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's like do 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 ah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Yeah, I love the
um
little breakdowns, the little like chorus
yeah.
type things going on. It's great.
And he even references one of the things from the I think it's from the rabbi. He says or no, I think it's the Buddhist thing, 49 days.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
He
it's
says
yeah, it's his, I think, Vietnamese. Like I
that the
think that was his
that the dead
specific one.
wander for
Mm-hmm.
49 days and
I've
then their
I
soul's free. So he says 49 days by your side, and like
Mm-hmm.
as though your dead relatives are with you for 49 days, just like helping you grieve, like the spirit of it. I like that idea. So this song, right when I heard it about a year and a half ago for the first time, about 3 months earlier, I had like been bit with the inspiration of what my next full length album will be, which still does not exist, and it's because like I've been writing it for this long,
mm,
and the album's called Transmute Death, and it was just like the album cover's done, like the design for it's done, all the songs are written, nothing's recorded yet, but um, I decided right then and there that, and I've developed this idea since then, but side B of the record, which is like track 6, is gonna be basically that song. I'm gonna license it from
oh
Ty.
man, that
So
is
Mm.
awesome.
I'm basically figuring out how I can reach out to the CBC or the producers or whoever and just be like, how much do you need for a license? I don't want to like just take it. I have too much respect for the song. I want to pay Ty. I want to like have it be featuring Ty on the album, So basically I took that song and I wrote in my head around how to make it like a post rock build up where it gets heavy at the end and he's still doing his do 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 thing
Mm.
over like a heavy band happening, and then it actually goes right into the next song that I had already had written, and it's almost like very relevant musically to the song that was already there, so it just all felt really right. So anyway, that's my thing is I'm I'm like set on that. So if they don't let me do that, the whole album's gonna fall apart.
No, that's an amazing idea. It really is a great song, and it ended up just being a great show in general. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Makes you think, makes you get emotional at times. It's just overall a great show. So definitely check out Ty Asks Why. It's a great one.
Yeah, no, it really is. And I guess that brings us to our recommendation for next week. We have another special guest. We didn't plan it to be back to back to back. It's just the way it ended up being. We have another special. Let me grab my dog. He's at my feet right now. And also, I need to probably go tell Mason something. Dang it, he's a little turd.
Wait, is he barking at you?
Yes, he's right at my feet barking at me. He's like, "Let me out of this room."
I hear him. I hear him just
what do you want?
yelling at you.
What do you want? Huh?
Thanks for having
it. Talk to chat. I'll be right
yeah,
back.
thanks for hanging out, everybody. Really appreciate it. Twigs, glad to see you.
Are we out of the?
Yeah, we literally just have the last like 2 seconds. There's Normie for everyone.
Sweet. What's up, Twigs? I saw that you stopped into my stream last night. Yeah, my friend Cam's in here. He said it's a dope podcast. Yeah, we're gonna do Discovery Weekly, right?
Yep.
Next?
So Discovery Weekly is our other show we put on our feed, and it's just everything else we've discovered throughout the week. So whatever else, nature, tech, science, food, shenanigans, whatever.
And I did the theme song for it.
Yep.
My first custom podcast theme song.
Yeah, we need to
Discovery Weekly.
We need to just record you a little. We'll talk about it on Discovery Weekly too. That's what I'm thinking. Is we got to do?
Yeah, that'll be good.
We got to do like a breakdown at the end.
Yeah,
well, we should do one here too, right after we do the recommendation, or maybe right before. Maybe we'll plug it in.
What's the recommendation? What do you mean?
Basically, so each week it's like a book club. So the recommendation at the end.
Yeah, you didn't actually do it yet.
Yeah, we haven't done it. But we definitely want to let you kind of talk about that, especially because we've worked with you on like a lot of stuff at this point. We can put that out there that like if anybody's a podcaster listening about it, go check out infinitethird.com. Get in touch. He can make you some music.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kirk? Should we do that before the recommendation or after? I want to get a Billy plug in there.
I missed the first part of what you guys were talking about.
I just want to get essentially all of Billy's socials and like the fact that he made our theme music and people should get in touch with him before or after the recommendation. What do you think?
I want to wrap it up with that pretty good so we can talk about it.
Okay, so you want to do the recommendation first and then talk about it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're still going. We're at 40:55. We'll say 41.
And I guess that brings us to next week's recommendation. And we have another special guest that's going to be on the show. He's a master storyteller. He's been featured on The Moth, Snap Judgment. He's been featured on Risk, all these other storytelling podcasts. He's an ex-military guy. He used to be a paratrooper. He was in the Vietnam War. He's an amazing storyteller. Dr. Ray Christian is going to be on the show, and we're going to be talking about Serial Season 2, Episode 1. So, yeah, Serial, like the most famous podcast other than like Joe Rogan ever. A lot of people, that was their first podcast they ever listened to was Serial Season 1. But Season 2, in my opinion, is actually even better than Season 1. And we're going to be listening to Episode 1 of Season 2 with Dr. Ray Christian. Well, Billy, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your time.
Amazing time, man.
You know, taking time out of your busy schedule, your new dad life.
Yeah.
To be able to come out here. Tell everybody about what you got going on, about your streams that you've been doing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I'm a music guy, Infinite Third. I've been doing it for years and years and years. And I used to be a touring musician pre-pandemic, but now I kind of pivoted to streaming. And as you guys know, I've been evolving my Twitch stream for the last 6 months or so. And right now, since I'm in the process of moving cities, actually, we're sort of in a every Friday night schedule, 7 to 10 p.m. And right now they're just sort of like hanging out, listening to music, talking about my music, talking about other people's music. I play some videos, but it's a fun time. And so that's Twitch Infinite Third is my username, and then I have a whole discography of music on Bandcamp and on Spotify, Apple Music,
Yeah, and
YouTube channel.
if you've listened to our shows very much, then you're probably fairly familiar with his work.
Yes, whether you know it or not, he has become the main music maker for the show. So we basically try to feature him as much as possible. Definitely check out his catalog; it's incredible. He's got a ton of cool stuff on there. Definitely check out the Twitch streams. Whenever we get live again, definitely go try and see him live. All of these things are amazing. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. It was a great time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been awesome.
Awesome. And remember,
there's always more to discover. Okay. That's the first one.
Cool. Nice. Do these
I
go up
felt
the
like
same week?
Yeah, this will be out Monday.
An asshole if I did it, but I was gonna see if I could get Billy to be like, but wait, there's more.
Well, it's so funny. I didn't realize. I actually remember thinking this last time I listened to the podcast, but there's always more is like the BillyMays.org thing,
yeah,
which is awesome.
Yeah. We didn't know that. I didn't know that either until you gave us those stickers. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is like half of our tagline.
It's so funny.
We stole their tagline. We didn't even know it.
Funny enough, I have a podcast concept that I'm wanting to start very soon. That I'm thinking the inevitable name of it is going to have to be "There's Always More."
Yeah, no, it's
So
a
that'd
great
be
way to
funny.
do it.
Yeah.
So we'll inadvertently be advertising your show every time we sign off.
Right. Hey, on this Zencaster thing, do I need to hit something right now?
You do
It
not need to
says-
do anything.
Okay,
It's
it says
just
your files are
finalizing.
finished uploading.
Yeah, I think it's
Do I
just
need to say
finalizing.
start podcasting or no thanks?
Put no thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just trying to get you to sign up.
Maybe I should.
You can.
good.
It's a
It
great
is good.
service.
But you don't have to do it now. You could do it. Like,
I'm gonna do it.
on your own time.
I'm gonna see if it works. Just because before it didn't work.
Oh, it didn't
Um,
work earlier?
Well, no, because it said private beta. So maybe because I did one, they're gonna be like, "Oh, we'll let you into the private beta."
I signed up for the beta like 6 months ago, and eventually it just let me do it. It never said I got it or anything. It just let me start doing it. So I've been doing it ever since. So,
Okay, I'm gonna try it real quick.
all right, I'm going to try and just start this next recording so we can not
right.
have the transition. Everybody's going to have to reconnect to Zencaster. Oh, so if I'll wait until after you're done doing that first.
Okay.
But yeah, everybody in chat who wasn't here earlier, what is the thing you miss the most about being a kid? That's our special question this week.
Is there a way you can like pin it to the chat?
I don't
no?
know. I wonder if
There's
there
gotta be some way
is.
you could do that.
I guess I could make
Oh,
something.
pin a question? I don't think I've seen that.
I guess you could do a poll, but then they do
I still
polls.
think it would-
You know?
Yeah. We're still learning a lot about Twitch stuff.
Yeah. Me too.
I've enjoyed it though. It's been an adventure.
Yeah, it
that's
has been
awesome.
fun trying to learn how to do it, but it sometimes takes iterations.
Mm-hmm.
The ignorance of jumping in dirty water. I get that. We did
Yeah,
that a lot.
I don't even go near dirty water anymore. Like a lake or, and playing in the shittiest dirt.
My dad used to have he had a nursery, like a plant nursery. And so there was always water and ditches and stuff from when they would water it. Dude, I used to make mud pies all day long out there to the point where like I would have literal skin fungus from the bacteria from the dirt because I was always messing out there
Damn.
in the dirt. Maybe that's why I have such a great immune system though.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I never get sick.
Mud pies. I knew. I kind of. I heard what Twigs heard. Mud pies. Did you guys see? What's it called? I think you should leave on Netflix.
I don't.
It's a
did I
sketch
say
comedy
something
show.
that's
I
Did
think
I say
mud.
something that ends
I
up
think
being
mud
like a
pies
meme?
is like a shit thing. Like.
Oh, yeah, that definitely wasn't that when I was a child.
Sorry, I added a. Am I allowed to do that on the chat?
Yeah,
I added
yeah.
the F word, so he
That's
he
fine.
tried to take it. Yeah, permitted term. Fucking, we might have to change that. Oh, I don't know if we're. What is
We're
the
not. It's fine.
I don't even know what the rules are for that kind of thing. Like, because you can't like do drugs on a stream, right? Not
I'm
that I want
guessing
to, but
not.
I don't know. Like I'm pretty sure you can't, but like I've seen big name guys that are definitely
yeah, doesn't T Pain
smoking
smoke
weed on
blunts
there.
all the
That's what
time?
I'm talking about. It's like,
T-Pain
and
streams are pretty awesome. Questlove's too. Questlove does like DJ streams. Pretty awesome.
I've never seen Questlove streams.
I've seen Questlove stuff. It's pretty good.
No, the favorite thing that I've heard coming out of the whole DMCA stuff happening with Twitch is the guitars from Dragon Force streams, and then he keeps getting takedowns on Dragon Force music. It's like, bro, I played that guitar. Like it's me.
It's weird. Yeah, I don't even know how to. We've talked about it before, but I still don't know how to like whitelist a channel so that my music can be allowed.
Yeah,
'Cause
we had
YouTube. You can do that.
yeah,
pretty
with Monster Cat, they have a whole thing, but it's like on their end. They build it out where essentially you just put in your channels and it whitelists you. But yeah, there's a whole weird thing happening with the DMCA stuff and with usage on Twitch streams. I honestly don't
And
understand how Spotify hasn't just monetized it for the artists.
They did. Now it's called Twitch Soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
And
but it's not everything, right? Is
we
it?
should, if you guys ever want to use that, I actually went on my DistroKid and found that it's one of the things I can add my music to like after the fact. So I went back and added all my albums to it. I don't know if it's up yet, but it's be called Twitch Soundtrack.
I'm gonna grab that because then we can. You saying you put all your stuff on there?
Not all of it. It's only the stuff that's through DistroKid,
Oh, okay.
which is mostly everything up until like 2017.
Oh, okay, cool.
in response to Twigs, a mud pie is, well, my version of a mud pie when I was a kid, not apparently what a sketch comedy meme thing, which is probably some affinity for shit. It's just not what I was talking about when I was a child.
Leave it up to your imagination.
You take a bunch of mud and dirt and you make like these little patties, and it's mud pie. It's just it's fun.
It's very literal. You make mud into a circle.
You make a little circle pie out of mud.
Did you
Mud
eat?
slides.
Did you eat
is
the
an
mud pie?
Alcoholic beverage. I did not. I did not eat. Well, maybe I tried.
No.
one
Did
once,
you
I
guys
don't
ever
know.
try acorns when you were a kid?
Oh yeah.
I did
Tried
because I was
acorns.
like,
I tried dog food.
I was like, look, these things are falling from the sky. If they taste good, I'm rich with snacks. They are not good. They are not good. I wouldn't recommend it.
I don't even know what an acorn is. Like, is it something in there that we eat, like corn or something, or not corn?
No, like
No,
it's like a nut. It looks kind of like a macadamia
oak.
nut or
Isn't it-
something.
Not an oak tree. I
It's
was
like
gonna
how
say it's oak
technically
tree.
some
Yeah, I think it's
nuts,
oak.
some nuts
Is it
that we
an oak
eat,
tree?
like we're not actually activating, like almonds and stuff. It's not the full power of an almond. If you sprout an almond, which is what a squirrel does, collects these nuts while they're still dry, and then takes it to its little lair and knows that you have to soak them to get like the full nutrients out of them.
What?
So yeah, if you sprout an almond, which is just soaking
See,
it,
here's a discovery.
yeah, right. You take the skin off. You can take it off really easily once they're soaked, and they have this like more of a vegetable quality. Like you can see green on it almost. And
I am
it's
gonna
more,
try
like,
this.
it's less crunchy. I don't know. It just tastes more alive. And I guess that's what sprouting it is. It sprouts.
So it's like
So
a
it's-
microgreen. It's like a microgreen nut.
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
Random thing I thought about the other day, because when we were playing video games and Twigs was asking us about freaking boiled peanuts, and then she asked if we boiled sunflower seeds. I was like, that sounds stupid, but at the same time,
Might be
who
good.
thought that boiling peanuts was a good idea? What are other nuts that we can boil and that would taste great?
Well, now we know. Squirrels have already figured this out.
We need to start making an artisanal business of boiling nuts.
Boiled walnuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? All right, I'm gonna start this next recording, so it's gonna make you all reconnect. So
All right.
really?
this is happening right now. And it's doing something weird on mine. Hopefully this thing works. And while they're all loading in, you get to see this weird view of me in different angles. Mud pies versus mudslides. I'm hoping this works and lets the guys in. So far, not looking promising. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be right back, screen this thing so everybody can chill to some music, but we're just going to get this figured out and we'll be back. Thanks, everybody, for hanging. We really appreciate it.
It's not like a true crime show, like a murder mystery type thing. It's more like investigative journalism on one subject.
Okay.
But the second season is about a prison and a jail and just really, really messed up stuff that happens and the system being broken and stuff. And this was crazy because it was, like before all this other stuff that had happened. So it's more like the prison side of it. So it and Ray mentioned it because I when I messaged him, I'm like, we try to stay away from something that's just religion or just politics. If it touches on it, that's fine. But we don't want to be like, why Trump has destroyed America or Trump fan forever podcast.
What are these podcasts you're listening to? It seems
they're
very
probably
directed.
Probably horrible podcasts that exist. They do. But we don't want to do that or like Jesus fans or Satan's best friends or something like that.
I'm Satan's best friend.
Satan's best friend. How do you become Satan's best friend? What do you have to do?
You just gotta do sex and do drugs. And...
You just gotta do sex.
Just do sex, and then Satan's like, "Hey, you seem pretty cool, man."
Yeah.
Well, that's a bonus discovery for everyone.
Do sex.
Do sex.
Okay.
All right, I gotta fix this one more time. It really borked everything when I couldn't connect like that.
Yeah, I clipped it if no one else did. I was leaving it up for.
What are you talking about when you could see my eye really close?
Yeah, because it was like 3 angles of Zach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I warned him that was gonna happen.
It was great. It was funny.
Okay, we are back to normal. Do sex and forget to apologize to Jesus. Yeah, I guess that'll do it too. Yeah, thank Kirk for that one.
Yeah, I didn't even get to finish my thought because I said stupid things that took us there.
Yeah.
Welcome to my world.
It's over.
It's done. It's done.
God.
Okay.
Let me finish this clip real quick.
Oh, you're doing that right now. Okay. Yeah, no, because what it is okay, if anybody wants to know how the sausage is made right now, how you can see everybody is there's a platform called Zencaster, and so it's literally like a Skype call, and each of these windows you're seeing I took a tiny little sliver of a web browser and like blew it up on here. And so when it is just my camera, it just shows me really close and it picks a random part of that to like zoom in on. And so that happened to be my left eye this time. So that's what everybody got to enjoy. And then one was, I think, my microphone.
Yeah, your mouth, and then I think like your shoulder.
So there you go. That's what happens when it falls apart. But yeah, no, it's worked okay because the thing that we had to work out is how do we get better audio because Skype was not working for that. We were trying to do both and it wasn't doing it.
Yeah, there actually was a very bad lag on Skype.
Mm-hmm.
Like our lips were not even close to.
I don't think we're lagging. I think that he had two windows open.
Yeah, that's what he said.
So it's
How would that do that? How would that make it?
Because one was a little in front of the other. You know what I mean?
And he was hearing both of them, I think.
Yeah. So like he opened another one after probably like once Billy hosted, and so then he had two open that were slightly off on when they started.
Stuff like that. One time I was streaming and since I do the loop back, it takes the sound from my browser as well. And
I was in there for that one. I remember that.
No, but I would have never known. But everyone was like, "Wow, this is crazy right now."
And
I was
kept
like, "It shouldn't
building.
be that good." I was like, "It shouldn't be that crazy right now." But it was just literally the infinite loop of sound going through back and forth, and just building each time. So it was like an experimental moment. But
Yeah, no, it definitely started to break my brain towards the end of it. I was like, "This is so intense."
Yeah, I was like, these comments don't make sense. I'm in a really chill moment of this song.
Yeah, that was a really fun one.
All right. Time for Discovery Weekly, which is the other Discovery show that we do that is not called the other Discovery show anymore.
This is making me think that we're about to get something awesome happen, but I already know you packed all your stuff. I was like, we're about to launch into something.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's just a coffee table now where my gear used to be.
Do you look at it and just be like, oh, my stuff was here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Twig's name got mixed into the song? Oh,
Yeah,
on
that
one of
was
Billy's streams?
That was like the first time. I was like just learning how to stream, but we were being silly that day. And I think I was just talking to Twigs. I just said twiggly bits into the mic, but I didn't realize that I had the button recording. So it came around every like 2 bars or something. We would say twiggly bits.
How have you infiltrated so many songs, Twigs?
No, so okay.
We had someone else do. Go ahead, Zach.
Here's something awesome that Billy used to do pre-COVID, because now it's much more complicated. He used to do something called Mouth Council, where he would hang out at shows and he would get people to just make. Did you give them any limits on what they could do, or you just hand them a mic and it's like,
no,
go
so
for it?
I mean, it's really a situation like basically a bunch of people sitting in a circle is how it would be, and I'd have my loop station and a microphone with a short cable. And I would just start with a beatbox, loop that, pass it to the person to my left. I just tell them to do whatever they want. And so some people would be super shy, or some people would just be like, oh, I know exactly what to do, and just start making noises. And before you know it, there would just be all these different elements, and I'd be mixing them live. So it's not just that things get added and it just keeps building. It's me bringing stuff in and out and like making songs out of it, because I'd been doing this for 7 years or something like that. So I really missed the shit out of it. Like, it was such a creative exercise for me, and the improvisation of it, and also like I improvise my music, my solo music, but it's the same thing, but it's with everyone else. So there was no pressure on me to like come up with what was going to happen. I would just start a beat, and then I would kind of just have fun with it and use everybody else's voice. And yeah, so since literally the day that that the pandemic like really hit the US and they shut down the borders, I was on tour, and I was in North Carolina, at a show, and it was sort of a secluded show in the woods, like at this retreat center.
Hmm.
And I was doing my Infinite Third set, and I'm like following the news, getting more and more scared. And then I was supposed to do a mouth council set at the end of the night, and I was like, I just can't. Like, I don't think it's responsible right now to be passing a microphone when nobody knows what's going on with this virus. And so, unfortunately, I was the only guy that like had that perspective, where the rest of the people were just hippies, like, oh, who cares? It's all the news. It's propaganda or whatever, you know. And so I had to cancel. And so like the last mouth council never even really happened. Like the last scheduled mouth council.
Yeah,
Never
no, it's
happened.
funny because I kind of will forever associate when it kind of started locking down on me was I met you because it was you and Mark and Holy River, you know, so Jameson and Laney were out there. It's like I was talking to you and we're all just kind of like getting this vibe that's like, okay, this is starting to get real. And then that was literally like one of the last shows I've been to. There's been a couple that were pretty decent now. They do like
Yeah.
outdoor or whatever.
Yeah, that was February, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah. At
like
the
a
Dunedin
year
Brewery.
ago now.
Yep. Yeah.
How does that feel like just the other day and also 10 years ago
I know.
at the same time?
It's been a weird year.
Like I said last night, I played 115 shows in 2019, and then I played like 4 or 8 or something in 2020, and then that was it. And it's just like it's totally taken like a whole platform away from me, like for how I stress relieve myself. Like
What do you think
performances and
about
stuff.
streaming though? Do you think that you'll end up doing that like long after you can get back
Yeah,
to live shows?
I do. I think that I'll probably be like kind of not down to play shows for a long time anyway. Even after things are like, because right now I could be playing shows in Florida, nobody cares,
They don't.
you know,
You're
and
They do
and
not.
it sucks. But I think that I'm at least till 2022 like not playing shows, and I think that's good for me, but also bad for me in that I don't have that outlet.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope that I'm just like streaming most of the year, and then I'll go on tour for a month or two at a time. And then
Please
come
tell
back
me
to
that
stream.
even when you move to Georgia, that you're coming back to Florida on tour.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the whole thing is that it's so anticlimactic leaving a city during a pandemic because there's no way I'm gonna have like a going away party.
Yeah.
So I'm planning to just sort of quietly leave Florida in about a month or two, and then hopefully just like kind of pop back in when shows are back and do like a normal St. Pete weekend of shows. Hopefully.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing, a mouth council. I do have 2 friends right now who are wanting to do a live stream. They have the whole setup. They have like a whole production suite, like mobile production thing for streaming. Their vision is to do mouth council, and I kind of came up with this with them, with that it would be the same except there would be a mixer with like 8 microphone cables, and they'd be longer.
Oh.
They'd be like 8 feet long, and they'd all go out to the different, and we'd all be like 8 to 10 feet away in a big warehouse. And so we might do this where the only thing that would be different is you wouldn't be passing the mic, but it would kind of just be me like directing everyone and pointing at them when to go. But essentially it could be the same thing,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So I might be doing that before I go. That maybe that'll be my going away stream.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So is that what you're thinking about doing that in St. Pete?
Yeah.
Well, if you need 2 random jabronis to sit at the end of long microphones, Kirk and I are
Okay.
available.
All right. Heard.
But yeah, now we're breaking into the next podcast we have called Discovery Weekly, which is just everything else we discovered, all kinds of random topics and things like that. I'm trying to make sure I have these all lined up right. I think we're good. Do you think that I don't really need to show your NPR article on there, right?
That one doesn't have anything visual on
Just the moon one, because I tried
The
not
moon
to do
one
all
does.
of them because it's slightly lame on some of them, but we'll see. All right, well, you can kick it off whenever. We're at 11 minutes.
it. 8 jabronis.
She always calls it balonies.
All right. Welcome to Discovery Weekly. It's the bonus show from the Podcast Discovery Show, where every single week we talk about all of the other things that we've discovered throughout the week that have nothing to do with podcasts. I'm Kirk.
I'm Zach, and this week we're joined by another great guest. Our friend and an incredible guy, incredible musician, Mr. Billy Mays III, also known as Infinite Third. Thanks so much for helping us discover some things this week.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Billy Mays in the house. Awesome.
So yeah, I discovered something pretty weird. There is a company that I think it was supposed to be a troll. They created a company. Well, I don't think it was actually a company. They created something called Blue Check Homes. So the premise was, what you would do is get Twitter verified on your house. So if you've ever read anything about how Twitter verifies, it's very odd. There's a lot of weird stipulations, but then you get that little blue check mark by your name on your Twitter profile. And there's a company in San Francisco that
One of us in this group has a blue check, correct?
Yes, I think so. And I mean, spoiler alert, it's not Kirk and I.
Hey, I'll let you guys into the private blue check parties next time.
Okay.
Next time we have
Okay.
one.
Oh wait, is it like the Illuminati? That's,
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
You don't want to know what I had to do to get one.
But yeah, they started this whole thing, and they just posted on socials. You can get a verified badge crest on your Bay Area home if you're an influencer, public figure, or represent a brand. And then the website is Blue Check Homes. So literally, it's this little plaque that you would put on the front of your house that has a blue check mark on it. And I think that the entire
I got to get one of these.
the entire premise was a troll. So like I think that it started from, she read what it took to be verified on Twitter. And it was kind of ludicrous in general, some of the stipulations. And she's like, what if we did this for houses and put this thing out? And it was a joke. The whole thing was fake. She made a fake website, did everything, and they got 495 applicants to try and get this fake thing on their thing. And I think it included like a $3,000 fee to get this plaque on your house.
And of course, people decided they would pay it. Of course.
Yeah, no, yes, of course that this happened. And I mean, it was in San Francisco too. But so basically, she did all of this stuff and started going through it, and then people went for it. And so then it became this whole thing, because then people started getting upset, like, oh, is this look how stupid these startups are in San Francisco. And, everybody just got all in an uproar about the wrong things, because she was literally trying to make a statement about the whole, like, verified thing. But then it gets into, there was kind of some stuff that she based this on. And there was something called... there was a symbol called a bend sinister. That was something that was during the Victorian era, like houses there, that they would put symbols up on the front of a house. But one of them, it's like here, I'll show this to chat as well. One of them, they have like a little shield like this with a purple stripe through it. So it looks like just like a shield and a purple stripe. But what that meant was that there was an illegitimate child there. And like,
what the heck?
It's like, who thought to come up with these weird, very
like a scarlet
personal
letter for your house?
Weird, very personal little plaques. But they think that in the end they did this just for the look of it, because you could get just like this, like what do they call them, coat of arms on your house and things like that. And so people were just doing it. But then they get into all of this like breakdown of the house. So here's something that this is their website. Blue Check Homes uses a mix of internal signals to evaluate the authenticity of a given homeowner. We also assess a range of signals associated with third-party public resources. And like, they have all this crazy stuff that made you think it was real. But basically, here's how you have to prove it. You must be a homeowner who's also a thought leader, for instance, or identify yourself as an athlete or member of a professional esports league who's been featured in gaming publications like Kotaku, Polygon, or IGN. Are you a famous actor desiring to own one of these crests? Well, unless you have at least 5 production credits on your IMDb profile, too bad. And so this whole thing, it like seems like a troll, but it kind of picked up. And so it reminded me of that. You remember that app that was on the iPhone for a minute that cost like $5,000 and was literally just like a giant diamond?
It was just like the badge, right? Is like all it was.
Yeah,
basically?
there was nothing to it. It literally was just there, but only people who could afford to spend stupid money on an application could say like, "Hey, look at this. You see how Because I never got, okay, what kind of message do you think this is sending? If this thing were real, the blue checkmark house thing was real, what do people think they're putting out there? You know what I mean? What would be the desire? I don't get it. Like, I don't get why you would inquire on it. Aside, now I would
Now,
get it more now.
do you think that maybe the people, like, is it sort of a meme thing that even the people that were wanting them are sort of like doing it ironically?
Could be. It
You
could
know?
be that.
Like, I
Because,
feel
yeah.
like maybe no one's serious about this. Like sometimes on Twitter, something will take off when no one in the whole realm of it was ever being serious, but like it causes outrage on both sides of it, you know, and like,
Yeah.
and when really nothing was actually happening except joking and like riffing on an idea.
It's
So
like what Twig says in chat. It's like, yes, I have enough money to spend $3,000 on a blue check mark. I have things you want to steal in this house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
there is that.
Yeah.
There is that. But yeah, no, I never really got the like. Maybe I just am too poor to even think this way. Where it's like that's never been like
Okay,
an option
so-
for me, anyways.
Question: let's say if this was real, let's maybe even just talk about the badge, the iPhone thing. Do you think? I kind of think that it's genius, the person that came up with it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the people that actually bought it are the idiots. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have any problem with making something that some stupid rich person is just gonna throw their money at because they don't know what else to do with it, and I don't know.
Yeah, no, and
I
there's
think
levels.
It's kind of a funny thing. Yeah,
this
it's not really.
this reminds
It's
me
not
of something.
technically taking advantage of somebody because they're choosing to do it,
Yeah.
and they know that it doesn't mean anything.
Do you know the guy from Wolfpack?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack Stratton. He was the one that did Sleepify.
Yes.
Yeah, where it was just silence, and then he gamed Spotify's
Yeah.
algorithms basically. But
Oh,
he has
yes.
that book called "How I Made $290,000 Selling Books," and it was like that was it.
That
And
was
I
the-
did- like that was the whole thing. I'm pretty sure that it wasn't a book, like, but it's real. It's priced. It was priced on Amazon. It's not there anymore, but it was priced on Amazon for 290,000, and like that was the whole thing. That was
Yeah, he's
brilliant.
he's a troll. That's a great
Yeah.
band too. If you
Yeah,
haven't
yeah,
heard Wolfpack, definitely check that out.
Yeah.
I didn't remember the name, but I have heard a whole. I think it was a 20,000 Hertz episode on that or something. It was a 99% Invisible episode on that.
Okay.
About that whole like the songs of silence or whatever it was.
Yeah. No, it
Yeah,
literally was just an entire album of
Sleepify.
silence, so you could just turn it on while you were sleeping, and he would just get royalties on it.
Yeah.
It's genius.
Yeah, no, and I
Just-
do think there's some level of like, if people are willing to pay you for it, then fine. And then you get to like the level of the guy who did the Fire Festival, and he had that
That's-
same plan, but he didn't
Yeah.
execute on it. Like he didn't like
Yeah.
he set up like a shanty town that looked like a FEMA camp that essentially was supposed to be what you were going to.
See, that's different.
Yeah.
That's not
That's different.
delivering what you promised.
Yeah.
The other stuff is like, this is what you're getting. Do you want to pay this much amount of money? It's your choice. And then they do. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's their own
Yeah.
bad judgment. That
That's
they
their
weren't
own-
lied
It's
to.
like buying a $500 T-shirt, you know? Like,
Yeah,
Exactly.
there's
They weren't
nothing-
lied
you're
to.
not getting ripped off. You're doing it because you know what you're doing and you want that thing.
So we inadvertently did make the right choice on segues because this next thing is all about gaming the system in a completely legal and genius way. I found this NPR article about how people have been able to get frequent flyer miles by using a government program exploit that is completely legal and also genius. So what they would do is there's this weird law because government, and they made this law where they have to keep making these $1 coins for like ridiculous amount of time. Like they're supposed to make so many millions of dollars worth of these $1 coins to try to get them in circulation. No one wants them. So
it never really stuck.
and they still like they signed a thing. It's in law that they have to keep making it. It's real stupid. But what people figured out is you could order these from the mint. They would ship them to you for free. So you were paying $1 to get $1. And what they were doing is, I'm going to read some of the article. Once in possession of the coins shipped to them by the government for free, they can deposit them into their bank accounts and then pay off the credit cards that they bought those with. The result a free ticket to anywhere. So
Oh,
I get it.
they
Yeah.
would get a credit card that had frequent flyer miles that you could, for purchases. They would buy
They would buy the coins.
all these coins, $1 to $1, immediately put it in their bank account, pay off that credit card, get the freaking flyer miles.
That's amazing. That's like a dream to
Yeah.
discover that.
It's
Like,
genius. It's
yeah.
genius. So I want to read a little bit more about it because it is actually kind of crazy how much these people did with it. Here's somebody that has done it. He said, "We've used them to go on trips around the world," says Jane Liao, a 35-year-old public health researcher and science writer in San Francisco. She says she and her husband, who use a variety of tricks for earning miles, are planning trips to Greece and Turkey, all on miles and points. And then they talk a little bit more about like the law and stuff that's just so stupid. So the mountain of coins is the unintended result of a 2005 act of Congress. The law requires that more and more coins be minted despite a lack of demand by the public.
classic.
Mhm.
But it's funny because eventually the government was kind of figuring stuff out. Like, what's happening here? It says officials there first noticed something amiss in the summer of 2008 when they saw that small numbers of customers were repeatedly ordering large numbers of $1 coins. The top 20 customers, listen to this. It's also, think about how awesome your credit looks, by the way.
Probably looks
This
great.
is a great idea. This is a great idea. I'm just saying it.
I'll wait for it, but they shut this down, right? Like they stopped this loophole in some way.
Kind of. I will say I did go on the Mint website and try to find a way.
Oh, you're like, I have an idea now. I don't know where it came from.
I couldn't figure out how to do it, but it could be just me not being able to figure out a government website because it was very not intuitive. But anyway, so the top 20 customers bought between 219,000 and 696,000 worth of these coins each.
So, and they
Another
had
clue-
they had to get these in, like they mailed them the coin, right?
Yeah, rolls of coins.
$200,000 in dollar coins.
$750,000 was what some of these people were getting up to. So another clue that the hackers left was, I love how they call them hackers. I mean,
Yeah.
it is a hack, but was that dollar coins were arriving in banks still clad in the U.S. Mint packaging, so they wouldn't even unpackage them,
Oh
just taking
my
them to the
God.
bank and turning them in. And they interviewed some people from the Mint, and they says it's not illegal, but it's an abuse of the system. That's not what the system was set up to do. The system was set up to promote the use of $1 coins, and we're simply just trying to do that.
I mean, just stop trying to do that then. Seems like an easy solution.
In total, the Mint has mailed out 284 million $1 coins.
Wow.
284 million. And
I literally can't remember the last time I saw a dollar coin.
the only time I ever see it is when I go get my car washed at like these places, and you put the dollar in, and it gives you the freaking Sacagawea coins that you can use.
Wait, so this was like now? This happened recently? Like was
Some of this
happening-
was up to 2010. It's
oh,
not.
okay. So you discovered this in the deep cuts. Of,
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Because I was gonna say, man, like, can't they do our stimulus through these coins? or
Yeah, just
something?
if you really need to get the coins going, just send
Yeah.
everybody coins now.
Yeah. Yep.
The article ends with this journalist that has done this in the past. He says, "I'm not a heavy hitter as other people are. I've ordered probably maybe between $30,000 or $40,000 worth. Not a heavy hitter, okay." He says he's got a few million miles still to be able to use to go on trips, and he says, "Me and my wife are going to Singapore, Australia, and Malaysia this year."
Mhm.
It's such a good idea, and also the best way to fix your credit.
The best way to fix your credit: $1 billion coins.
Oh,
It's
man.
not illegal.
No, I'm not saying
I
it's
mean,
legal.
What they ended up having to do is they made it a minimum where you can only, or a maximum, you can only get $1,000 worth of them per like month or quarter or something like that. From
Still
the-
do
These
it.
people made it their full-time job to
I
just
honestly, I think
deal with
think you can
coins.
probably still do this. I think you can still do this. I bet you money they're still trying to get rid of these stupid coins because there is so many. Like I saw pictures of the warehouses, and it is. And when I went to the Mint, and they're still making them. They're making them now. So
Why are they still making them? That's ridiculous.
because government do.
Yeah, I
It's just
guess.
stupid.
Yeah, I guess. But like, I looked up at some point why there was like a coin shortage. Like, did you guys notice that they were? I mean, for obvious reasons, they
Yes.
should be probably asking you to not do cash because then you can just do a card and you don't have to interact with people during a pandemic.
You go to the
But
gas station, they were like, no cash.
yeah, no, and I think it really just came down to people weren't spending cash, and so it kind of just like doubled up on itself. And so people weren't using their cash, they weren't getting change, they weren't spending change, and so it just kind of kept going down and down and down. And then it makes no sense to really do it at this point. I think people are going to start like trying to figure out how to better do completely like contactless payment for the future anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is maybe not something to talk about here because I don't know the answer, and you guys probably don't either. But isn't it technically illegal to sell something and not accept cash, like as a store? Because it's like that's the whole
Historically maybe,
thing, right?
you know what I mean, like historically maybe, but this is new stuff. I mean, technically if they were to like sue you, I
No,
guess
no, I'm
maybe.
talking about. I'm not talking about a shortage. I understand because of the shortages, but like I've gone to places where they won't accept cash now at
Yeah.
all, and I'm talking about before COVID. I'm not talking about specifically COVID. Like I think Armature Works, they don't take cash anywhere.
Hmm.
You know, at all those places, and I was like, wait, is that okay? It's like this is monies. This is my monies.
It's probably not like a law or something. It's probably like they used to probably take gold blocks, you know, and then they were just like, well, we don't take gold blocks anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, times
I don't
definitely
want your gold
changed.
brick.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what to do with this. You need to take this away. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's essentially what's happening though, because probably within our lifetimes, cash isn't going to really be a thing
Oh,
because
yeah,
it doesn't really make sense to like, oh, I have this janky piece of paper that has cocaine and like germs all over it that you can have. It's worth $1. I got to make sure to keep it in my wallet.
So, damn, maybe this is a good, because I was thinking about what my discovery was this week, and maybe this is a good segue for mine, if that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You wanna go? Okay. So I don't know how familiar you guys are with cryptocurrency and stuff like that. all.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
We just started getting into it a little
Bitcoin
bit.
and yeah. So what I'm really interested in lately is what's called NFTs, which are not, it means non-fungible tokens. And the reason it's cool, do you guys know the artist Beeple?
I do not.
You've definitely seen his work. He's a digital artist. He's been doing daily art for like 10 years. Look him up right now. You'll have seen some.
How do you spell
It's
it?
always like political. Beeple. Beeple. And there's a lot of like Kim Jong Un like as a baby, and like Trump is like breastfeeding him, like that kind of thing.
Okay.
And sometimes it's like Mickey Mouse like doing crazy shit, and Shrek. I don't know. Like it's just like maximal like
Oh yeah, I see it.
nonsense, and like you've definitely seen some pieces
Mhm.
get shared. He's very famous like for that reason, but like not everyone knows his name. So he recently, if you type in Beeple art auction, you'll see just recently, I think it was December of 2020, he did basically an auction, like a very limited auction of digital original art. So like limited edition digital items. And what they do is they put them on the blockchain, which is kind of, it's what I'm learning about basically, is that there's this new thing called NFTs, non-fungible tokens, where you can basically generate your own token, and you can let someone own a piece of digital art, and they own it now. And it's like traceable and it's immutable. And so he
So
made
technically the-
$3.5
is-
million in this crypto NFT auction. But he's super famous, so I don't think that would go for any artist. But he made $3.5 million. I think it was over the course of like a couple days.
That's
maybe,
crazy.
Maybe 3 days. And like, yeah.
And he literally registers you on like a blockchain that you own the asset now?
Well, so what I think he did is he sort of made these like physical items that like commemorate it. So they were like holographic versions of the art that were just like little screens that play the digital art. Like they just have it there on a screen, but then that is commemorated by like something on the blockchain, like these non-fungible tokens.
That's crazy.
So I'm trying to figure out how I can do this, and like I want to have people own my songs in this way. Because what I've been learning about it is that basically you can never stop people from sharing music. Like they're not trying to make it so that this person owns it and they can't like it can't be shared now. And it's just they're trying to make it so that like that person owns something that will be there forever. It's on the blockchain. Everyone knows that that person owns it right there. It could get printed, it can get shared around, and it doesn't matter. It's like that thing happened back then.
Yeah, it's permanent on the blockchain.
Yeah. So from what I heard just yesterday or this week, Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park put a song on an NFT, and I think it went for 10,000 or something. And it was kind of like controversial because now all these people are dipping their toes in. Like it looks like Lil Yachty, the rapper, is doing some stuff like that.
Lil Yachty.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And I'm looking it up more and more. I'm like,
his art's insane, by the way, because I'm just
Beeple.
Looking
Yeah,
it's really
Beeple
cool.
is like nobody goes as hard as Beeple for as long as he has. I think it's like he's done 5,000 pieces over the past 10 years or something like that.
It's very cyberpunky. A lot of it, not all of it, but a lot.
It's really cool.
And if you're following him online, you'll notice that like it always goes with what's happening in the news. Like when on the Friday that they declared Joe Biden the president, it was like a picture of the White House, but like a Joe Biden virus was growing on it, like little like Joe Biden heads were growing all over it, and like just it's not really making a statement. It's kind of just illustrating in a funny and like graphic way something that's going on right now. Like they made a Trump like coronavirus, there's a couple like that are sort of drawing a comparison between the two.
All this stuff is so interesting to me because like watching everything get turned into blockchains, and then because we were talking just the other week, we talked about Discovery where there's a video game that has a token on it that's literally a tradable token, but it's also the in-game currency.
What game?
It's called Decentraland. It's a VR.
Yeah, okay.
It's a
so
VR
I tried
game.
that. I'm on there. Like,
are you?
You have to make a little MetaMask wallet to be able to be on there. Have you done it?
No, I haven't gone on the game.
I don't know much about it, but I have it right here on my toolbar.
Does it have to be VR? Me and Zach were talking about that.
No, it's kind of like Second Life, like how you can just kind of control your character. And from what I found, it wasn't that customizable yet, and there wasn't much to do.
Yeah,
but
I think it's early.
But they're planning on it being like you'll own a piece of land in Decentraland, and you'll just own it forever, and like it'll just grow forever. And the earlier cities will be the ones that, or the neighborhoods or whatever you want to call them, will be the ones that'll be like more
prime real estate.
Yeah, exactly. And you could sell your Decentraland house someday, and it's on the blockchain. It's there. It's not like some digital thing that, from what I understand, I've been trying to wrap my head around cryptocurrency for, I don't know. My friend Cam, who was in the chat earlier, is the person who tried to get me to buy Bitcoin back in 2011, and I'd be rich right now.
You would be really rich right now.
And everyone has those stories of shoulda, woulda, coulda. But as much as I feel like I understand it, sometimes it's just so hard to really wrap your head around the implications and what it really means if it gets adopted, and like just the infinite possibilities.
Yeah, it really is crazy.
Yeah.
So, do you guys know the gaming company called Razer? They make like mice and stuff like that.
Okay.
Well, they have made a N95 respirator because we're living in the time of COVID. I'm gonna put this in chat so everybody can check this out. And okay, if you were to know that Razer's making a mask. Do you think that they
RGB?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, it has RGB on it. You know it does. And then it also has. Yeah, everyone immediately guessed it because yes, of course it's going to have that. But literally, it also has microphone inside your mask, so it'll like project your voice out. And then also at night,
the thing actually looks pretty freaking
it looks
awesome.
tight. Scroll down, the LEDs turn on at night, so like light your face up. Okay. And so basically they have this whole video about how, I mean, you know what it is. Everybody is making masks. Like every single company has started making masks because people are buying them. And then so there's some of these companies that are getting very sophisticated with them. And I just thought it was hilarious that a company like Razer would do this. And first of all, it does look cool. I will give them that.
How much is it?
I didn't see a price on there, which is not a good sign, honestly. But it's probably slightly expensive, would be my guess, because it's got electronics in it. But It does look pretty cool, and it
Dude,
does point us
I'm
towards
not
the
gonna lie,
direction
I
of we're
want
all
that
living
thing.
in
It looks
Blade
pretty
Runner.
cool.
Yeah, no, I mean it does look cool.
Yeah, it
Oh,
doesn't have a
man.
price. It just says notify me when it's available. So
So
it's
yeah,
got to be $200, something like that.
yeah.
But
So
I
if
don't really care about the lights and stuff. I like the fact that it'll project your thing. It also has like a case that it's in that
mhm.
has like the light
I
that
love it.
disinfects it. I mean, that thing looks sweet.
Yeah, no, I want one of these things. Looks awesome.
I do find myself like feeling like I'm mumbling or that my voice isn't projecting and then
It's
nobody
really
can read
Yeah,
hard.
my
and you have to like
lips.
end
You
up
know?
pulling the mask away from your
Yeah.
mouth so that they can hear you.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
you're touching your face. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why
I know.
I like
I
the
know.
idea of some of these rigid ones because like yeah, no, I do the exact same thing where it's like, okay, I feel like nobody can hear me, so you're like halfway yelling while you're wearing a mask. So yeah.
Yeah.
The newest in mask technology brought to you by Razer and RGB lights
There
I
because
love it.
is.
I'm gonna get one.
you got to look real swaggy when you're going out in public.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Cool.
great. So I found a article about moon trees, and I didn't know that these were a thing. And this might actually end up being something we talk about on Ag Lab because I think it's pretty interesting as well, in the agriculture space. But there's been trees that have planted from seeds that have been to space to the moon in particular and back, and then they've been planted and they've grown all over the U.S. Um, the historic voyage of the Apollo program were about bold exploration and incredible scientific discovery, says acting NASA chief historian Brian Odom. Apollo 14 included the widest range of scientific experiments to that point in the program. But in the case of Rusa's moon rock trees, which was the astronaut, he was the command module pilot that was on that mission. It was what the astronaut took with them on their lunar journey that has left such an indelible mark on the landscape back on Earth. A joint effort between NASA and the U.S. Forest Service, the seeds were flown to as an experiment to determine the effects of deep space on seeds, and also to help raise awareness about the Forest Service, because apparently Rusa used to be a what do they call him? They call him a combat blazer, someone that like literally like drops in as like a firefighter, basically, before he became an aviator and then an astronaut.
I mean, honestly, that is one of the most badass titles I've ever heard. Did you say Combat Blazer? That it sounds like a movie that Stallone would be in. That sounds
No,
amazing.
I spoke wrong. Combat the Blazes. They were called smoke
Oh.
jumpers, but that's still pretty cool.
That's still pretty awesome, but Combat Blazer is its own special thing.
I'm a combat blazer. Sorry, I'm not good at reading sometimes. Following the mission, the canister ruptured during decontamination process, and the seeds were mixed together. The experiment's environment was compromised, and the seeds were feared to be dead. Nonetheless, they were sent to Forest Service offices in Gulfport, Mississippi, and Placerville, California, to see if any could be germinated. And some of them, because I think there was almost 500 of them, but 450 of them were planted and grown. And what's fascinating is basically they're around like government offices and like parks, and a lot of them were planted like ceremoniously at like celebrations in the 70s. And there's a map on here that shows all the
Here, I can
different
cut over to
places
that for you real quick.
that you can find the moon trees, which I find it fascinating. There's also 2 in Brazil. They show it all in the U.S. and then apparently we gave 2 to Brazil. I'm curious to find out what.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was some like ceremony or agreement or something on that.
Wow. I love that.
And it's funny because they even have second generation trees that have grown from seeds from these trees, and they call them half moon trees.
Half moon trees.
And I loved this because I didn't know this. This is more current. It says experiments on the ISS are studying the growth of various plants and crops which could be used as food for spacefaring astronauts. In November of 2020, NASA astronaut Kate Rubins, a member of the Expedition 64 crew, harvested a crop of radishes. Other crops grown on the space station include red romaine lettuce, Mizuna mustard greens, and zinnia flowers. So they're actively growing stuff on the ISS. I didn't know that. I didn't know they were growing radishes and greens and lettuce on the ISS.
That's how you get mutant vegetables that come back and take over our.
Well, apparently
our-
not, because these
Yeah.
trees have been here for like since the
Well,
late
maybe
70s.
that's
They're waiting.
Maybe we're breathing in that moon dust.
Yeah, that's what they want you to
what's making
think.
everybody crazy.
Have you seen The Happening? That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
The moon trees are going to get us. Mark Wahlberg's going to be there. He's not going to save anybody.
That movie's hilarious.
That movie is, I don't know if that was the goal, but it is.
No, it's not.
It's the
That's
weirdest movie.
horrible.
Hmm.
All right.
That's cool.
Well, thank you so much, Billy, for your time. We really appreciate you being on both shows. You know, we asked you to be on the PDS, and you were willing to be on this as well. We really appreciate
Yeah,
you
thanks for
taking the
having
time
me.
and doing that. And where else can everybody find you on Twitch and on your Bandcamp and all that kind of stuff?
It's all at Infinite Third, THIRD spelled out. Yeah, my Twitch channel, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff. I have a Patreon that's like sort of my private community where I share stuff weekly.
And to get on your Patreon's not that much money. I don't know why I'm not a patron yet. I know Zach is, but I don't know why.
He
it was
pays for
last
both
night.
of you.
Yep.
Because when you were streaming last night and you said, I'm like, why am I not a patron
Yeah,
yet? I should be on that.
$3.33. It's $3.33 a month. I
well,
find
he
it to
pays
be
for
a
our
perfect
Patreon,
number.
I'll pay for the subs. Well, no. I'm gonna get on your Patreon too.
Well, it's not quite $5 a month, and it's not
Yeah.
you know just $1 a month. You know, so that's why I do it. Yeah. You can hear me at the beginning of this show.
Yes, you can.
The theme song that I made, which was my first ever podcast theme song that I composed. And so if anybody needs a theme song for your YouTube channel or podcast, hit me up.
Yeah,
I got
seriously.
flexible rates.
Yeah, we could not be more thrilled to be working with Billy in all the ways we do. So if you're ever listening to his music and you want to work with him, reach out. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, and
You'll
we'll have
like talking
some of
to
the
him.
links to how to contact him in the show notes so that you can get with him or
Cool.
ask him any questions or anything like that. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. And remember, you can buy a blue check if you live in California, but it's real stupid and don't do it. And also, moon trees exist. And I'm also forgetting what to say because I don't know what I'm saying because we don't have an end thing to say. I hate this.
I
We need
love
a
it so
freaking-
much.
There's
No.
always more to discover. What?
No, we
No,
don't do
doesn't
that
that make
one.
sense?
He doesn't
need a
want to do that one.
tagline.
No, this is so much better because
no,
yeah.
it's not. It's
Yes,
so
it is.
much worse.
No,
I
How
hate
about
this.
but wait, there's more to discover.
Oh, we can't steal yours, Billy. Actually, no. Okay, can you send us off on this one? That's what we need. We need while you're on here. That's definitely our ending.
Just that what I
Yeah.
said.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I can do it.
Do it again. Come on.
It's one of those.
It's
one
in
of
your
those.
blood. It
It's
has
one
to
of
be.
those superpowers where like I can only turn invisible when no one's looking.
Oh, okay.
It's like
all
when
right.
I'm in my car, I turn it on and I just pitch because I have to get the energy out. But
No, and I know that he wants a tagline, but I have intentionally refused to help him find one because it's much better to watch him try and make one up at the end of every episode. Because that one,
Yeah.
that was.
you can always buy a blue check mark for your house.
I know, but then he kept going for another minute, and
Yeah,
it made it
yeah.
so good.
I don't know if good is the right word.
Oh, it definitely is.
And now we're still talking about it, and I don't even know where this ended. Did
You
it
should
get
do
over? Are
you
we
should
done?
do the same tagline, but always do it in like a different accent or like as a different like you could do it as like Yoda 1 year or 1 year, what 1 week. Like always
Discover
more
more,
to
there
discover.
always
There
is.
is. Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
I'll
man.
kick it off. Bye.
Bye,
Peace.
guys. Bye.
That was maybe the best ending you've ever done.
No, was definitely not.
I liked it. Damn.
Just that easy.
Cool.
Yep. That
Yeah,
was
man.
fun.
Really appreciate you coming on. That was super fun.
Yeah, man.
That was fun.
All right.
Yep. So
We're done recording.
I think that's it for the podcast tonight. Now I have to edit those at some point before the Super Bowl.
And
And
Twig said
that's yeah, it sounds much more intense that way. Twigs.
yeah, Twigs, you need a theme song. I'll make you a theme song. Just for your life.
She's got her never recorded bonus to our show at the end. It's like the podcast Discovery Show After Dark or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's what happens when
hosted
we.
by her. Mhm.
Oh.
It doesn't actually exist, but it exists.
No, it's
Oh,
when we
okay,
start
I
playing
see.
games, Twigs gets real in the voice chat. So
Okay.
the second half of the stream when we switch over is usually Twigs getting real
Nice.
at night.
That's awesome.
But yeah, you're gonna be sticking to the Fridays for a while. We'll definitely
Yeah.
get you a plug on here too. Everybody check out Infinite Third's
Yeah.
channel
Oh heck yes.
Friday.
on Fridays.
Wait, how do we do
7
that
to
shout out
10.
thing? Exclamation point. SO. Right?
Yep,
And then
you're doing it.
and
You're doing it.
I don't know how to do this.
I love that I got somebody gifted me a sub to their channel, so now I have all the zesties.
Dude, the Fantastic Plastics emotes are awesome.
They really are.
The eye and the cat. I always do this one. I always do that trilogy right there. And then you got the Fantastic one. Yeah.
That's nice. I like the ones where you can put things together.
Yeah. I gotta figure out what my next ones are gonna be. I actually have like 2 slots open right now. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, we have to figure out what we're gonna do as we go forward too. And I want to switch some of ours out because the only thing I don't like,
Some
don't
are
like
so
how-
small it's hard to see a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 of Zach's face that look the same, and you can't tell the difference. That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
These 2 look the same, or you can't tell. This is one's angry and
Yeah, they
one's
kinda
wow.
do.
There's a lot of my face going on in there right now. There's a lot of my head emotes happening.
What's funny is like we look so different now. It doesn't even really look like us anymore.
Yeah,
But it definitely is. 'Cause
being
this is
way
like
older will do that.
high school. These are like old high school pictures that I had that I just photoshopped.
Well, all right, everybody. I think we're about to get ready for some video games. Billy, thanks so much, man. It was super
Thanks
fun
for
having you
having
on
me.
here.
I'm gonna go play with the baby or
Yeah,
make sure
man.
she's asleep, I guess. But
Dad life.
yeah.
Go hang.
All right, y'all.
Yeah, really
See you,
appreciate
Twigs.
it, buddy.
See everybody.
Bye,
see
man.
Kirk. See Zach. I'll
See you,
talk to
Billy.
you guys soon.
All right, man.
Thanks, y'all.
All right. I'm going to go to this. We can talk to everybody a little bit, but it's about to be game time. So
It
we're
is.
going to take a quick break. You won't even know it happens until it's already happened to you. And then we're going to play some video games together. So we're going to take a quick break, get everything set up. We'll be right back. But yeah, really appreciate everybody hanging out. Hope you enjoyed discovering some new stuff with us. We always have fun. Loved having Billy on here. It was
me, sir.
great. All right, everybody, give everybody a look at Normie real quick before we go. Be right back.
Come here.
It's what they need. There he is. Look how adorable he is. He looks like a cloud mixed with a teddy bear.
Are you a loud boy today?
All right, everybody. We will be right back for some video game time.